Hey everybody, want to welcome you back to I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. I'm Slim,
And I'm Black, back again, once again.
and we are back. And we are both back a little older and a little wiser. uh,
Definitely.
so as we mentioned before, our previous birthday, our birthday month is May for both of us. So happy belated birthday, even though I told you happy birthday on your birthday, but happy
Mhm.
belated birthday to you. Um,
I appreciate it.
yeah,
Same to
yeah,
you.
yeah. It's that Taurus power thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, Sources rule the world, so
Right,
that's
right,
just what we do.
yeah. There you go. We're gonna get a lot of hate for that, of course, but it's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, and like we said, because of that, we did kind of not have two podcasts, but it's all good. We got we coming back with some more, and we're gonna keep going. Um, so, uh, how was it? How was your birthday month for you? What'd you end up doing for your birthday?
Well, we ended up going to, we have this thing, me and my wife do. We wanna go to a new place every single year in the United States. So, we chose Savannah, Georgia this year and, spent about a couple days up there. Went up there on a, Friday, came back on a Monday, and, it's really, really nice. Really, really nice place, laid back, beautiful place. You see all the ferries, on the Savannah River and all that good stuff. They got those restaurants and bars lined up,
Did y'all
on the
jump on a
river, so
ferry?
it's actually, we did. We had we my wife set up a ferry dinner and sunset. So it was real, real, real nice. She has a tendency to do things that did not tell me like I'm a 5-year-old or something like that. I said, just tell me what you planned, man.
Right. Yeah.
But she's very traditional and she has this thing where she has surprises, during my birthday. So that's just what she does.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna like, was it because she wants to surprise you, or is it because you would forget? That's kind of what I'm wondering.
Well, it's more of a surprise me because Well, here's the perfect example. Like we were actually eating at a restaurant, and the very same ferry that she had ordered later on for the night, we saw it pass by. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's a big ferry, man. That looks nice." And
Uh-huh.
she didn't say nothing. I was like, "Why didn't she say anything?" I said, "Okay, I think I'm catching on to your little surprises." So the moment she says, "Okay, well, we got to go to this place at at at, at 5 p.m." And we go and obviously she's not telling me what it is, but ended up being that very same ferry. And I
Nice.
said, "Man, you think you slick."
That's dope. That is truly dope, man. Yeah, I like that. Well, man, yeah. Honestly, for my birthday, I didn't really do much. I did what I've done for a while, and I think it's kind of a tradition. But we got like pizza, and I hung out, and I think I played video games or watched a movie or something. Um, we haven't done much because there's like a whole like all my family's birthdays are around all the same time or whatever,
Mhm.
and not just that, there's a lot of other things why I don't celebrate my birthday as often as I used to anymore. Occasionally,
Right.
my wife will still surprise me with things here or there, um, but like typically, I personally haven't. I would rather celebrate my wife's birthday and I would rather, just do things for them, for like my daughter. My daughter's birthday is almost like a holiday for us. So, enough about our birthdays. Like I said, we had a good time. I was still, even though my birthday, I didn't celebrate like a big thing. Um, we actually just kind of just did a nice low key birthday, and it was chill. I have gotten out the Rock Band though, and I think around my birthday we played Rock Band, and I did some other stuff around my birthday too. Sometimes actually the last couple of birthdays I've done something really athletic, like go for a nice long bike ride or something. Not like my wife. My wife went for a 42-mile bike ride for her birthday last year, so that was crazy.
Great.
But that was actually really fun. I actually enjoyed that. But like I was saying though, for mine, yeah, I didn't do too much. Again, enough about our birthdays. We actually did something really exciting last week. Black. can you please tell them what we did last Thursday?
What we did last Thursday.
Yeah, what we do last Thursday. Instead of recording, we were gonna record, but I made one suggestion and we went ahead and did that. What do we do?
Oh, yes, of course.
Took a
Where's
minute.
my mind? Where's my mind at, man? I can't believe it took me that long to think about it. No, we finally, finally, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we finally finished Gears of War 3.
We did it. We did it. And I think it's hilarious. Now it's a little bit sad and not really sad, but it was a little bit I guess somber, whatever. So going back for those who didn't know, haven't heard, part of this podcast was kind of geared around Gears of War 3 because that was
Mhm,
part of the idea when we started. That was like our first podcast, whatever. Um, and this was when I mean our first podcast, we actually had another one with our friend. And the very first one we recorded was talking about Gears of War 3 and everything. And we talked about how Black actually never finished playing it and trying to get into play. So that's how the story started. And that was why one of our first episodes was talking about Gears of War 3. And since then we actually been trying to play for the longest time. And matter of fact, our save file was from November, the last time we actually played, which is hilarious. That goes to show how
yeah,
much time that we have and
yeah,
how many other things kind of take our attention. We had different games that we played here and there. Um, but we were gonna record on last week, and I just made the suggestion. I was like, let's go ahead and do Gears of War 3. Let's finish it up so we can actually talk about it. So Gears of War 3 is officially done for us. And Black, you got to give me your thoughts on the whole series overall and on the ending. Um, and I want to say this spoiler warning here, but I say there's going to be spoilers for the rest of the podcast. Gears of War 3, of course, there's a spoiler warning here. However, Gears of War 3 has been out for so long, we don't really need a spoiler warning.
mhm,
But when we go into other stuff, I'll give you another spoiler warning, everybody, because like I said, there is some new stuff we're going to talk about.
yep,
So, um, Black. So let's go ahead first. Your overall thoughts on Gears of War 3. Are you like taking so long to actually get into it and try it out, finish it? What was your thoughts about taking so long to actually do it? Did you kind of regret it, or do you use like okay, it was in due time? Tell me about it because it was the limits that originally turned you off to the game, correct?
yeah, yep. It was the Lamberts that originally turned me off to the game, and fighting the same fish we fought in Gears 2, only it's a Lambert fish. I kind of like that big fish monster thing that you got to
Mhm,
fight
mhm.
and
Yeah.
shoot him in the eye and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, there was a multitude of things, but I don't know. I gotta kind of blame our old buddy Will. He was
Uh-huh.
putting too much pressure on me to play that game anyways. So I'm blaming him some too. It's his fault. But I'm not gonna lie. Um, I I kind of regret it. Kind of like ditching him on that game because it turns out the story was fascinating.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a lot of shock moments to it, and
Oh, a lot.
I do kind of regret it. I'm not gonna lie. You
Mhm.
know, sometimes I'm quick. Well, back then I've got a bit more patience now. Sometimes I'm quick to judge a game, and I'm like, "Oh, I ain't feeling it." When I was
Yeah.
younger, but now I'm older, wiser, as Chris mentioned, Slim mentioned
Yeah.
earlier. So
Yeah. So, and that's the thing about the story. Did it fill in some parts for Gears of War 4 and 5 for you? Did it
yeah,
fill in some of the
yeah,
missing parts?
hmm
And it goes to show too, like I was telling you before, you got to see the spark of Marcus Phoenix and Anya's
hmm
I can't believe I forgot her last name. And Anya's relationship. You got to see
yep,
that spark of their relationship and which ended up spawning JD Phoenix for
hmm
Gears of War 4 and 5.
yep,
So That was actually really cool. Um, but Imma tell you, it was worth it just to see the storyline and everything about that happened around with Dom.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
you 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 see Dom's story come to an end, and, it's that ending, it's hard to put into good words that would do it justice because, you know, Dom he was like everything, like, he was Marcus's brother. He was holding Marcus together for the longest time. He was there for Marcus.
Mhm.
And then in Gears of War 2, when he found his wife and he found her the way she was, like we said before, at the beginning of Gears of War 3, you just saw the change that was made of him. And he had the beard, he had the sunken eyes, and he his whole will to go on was just gone, you know? And it's almost like they foreshadowed that it was only a matter of time before he was gone.
Mhm.
There was a lot of foreshadowing at the beginning of the game, even his banter out the game, if you notice, his banter between him and Marcus changed. He was serious through the whole beginning. Like he wasn't cracking all the jokes and stuff that they did.
Right, right. I mean, you can kinda tell, how the plot is shifting towards, something's gonna happen to Dom. Either he's gonna sacrifice himself or either he's or something's gonna happen. And, just the way he was talking, like you said, his banter and his demeanor, it's almost like he just didn't care to live anymore, you
Yeah,
know?
right.
And it's a sad thing because Dom, is to me, is about as important as Marcus Phoenix as far
Yeah,
as Gears of War.
right.
Those 2 guys right there. Then you got the Cold Train and you got, Beard, but as far as, Dom and Phoenix, man, those guys are like 2 peas in the pod, man, you know?
Mhm.
They were like brothers. So to hear him talk like that, it's a sad thing, and, so you knew something was coming.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so the surprise with the Carmine brother,
Oh,
that how did
yeah,
it
yeah.
what do you think about that? That was actually a surprise.
That was a shocker because 'cause I'm thinking they're all dead, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
I'm thinking they're
And
all
and
dead, but one of them lived.
it's hilarious because all of the Carmines, their letters of their first name start it's like the alphabetical order, A, B, C, and Clayton, the letter with the letter C, of course, he's the one that survived.
Mhm.
But it was so funny that the way they actually made him his helicopter went down, and you'd be like, "Oh, there goes another Carmine." And
Like, he
you
was literally the Carmines were literally the Kennys of
yeah.
of Gears of War.
Yep,
So
yep. South Park Kenny's correct. Yeah, right? And that was so hilarious about it because of how, like, you were expecting it. As soon as you saw a Carmine, you were like, "How are they gonna get this one? How are they gonna" you know? But, so that actual detail about the Carmine was actually, they voted. There was a campaign to vote on the fate of that Carmine. And, a vote was held between, July 29th, 2010 and September 6th, 2010 to determine whether or not, he would live or die. And it was all based off of sales of Xbox Avatar. You remember the old school Avatar? It was all
Mhm.
based off of sales for those T-shirts, that you could actually buy for your avatar. And they did it. So they kept them alive, and it was really dope. That was a really nice detail that they added to it. Um, so let's get to the actual tower where you go and rescue his father. So throughout the story, you find out his Marcus Phoenix's father Adam is actually alive, and
Mhm.
that's actually what's really cool about it too is in the actual the big pack, I keep calling it the big pack, but the, collector's edition
Mhm,
of Gears of War 3, you actually have, some collectibles, and you have, like, I think an award that's given to Adam Phoenix, a medal or something like that.
mhm,
You've got a Gears cog tag, not a cog tag, but no, that's the award that I'm thinking of. And then you have, like, the Gears flag and everything things like that.
mhm.
Um, but, Adam Phoenix. So you the whole storyline is you're going to actually save Adam, and you gotta do all this different stuff here or there. Well, throughout the story, trying to find him, you're still communicating with him and everything like that.
Yep.
Once you get onto this island that's actually surrounded by a maelstrom, which is an artificial maelstrom, um, you have to go underneath it with the sub, which is actually really dope. I really like that detail. I was
Yes.
I was trying not to tell you about that detail so it could actually surprise you, and I hope I did because I was just like, just wait, just wait, you know, because that
Yeah,
was actually
it
really
was killer.
surprising. Yeah,
That
yeah,
scene was killer. I'm
yeah,
like, what in the world is that?"
yeah.
You know?
That was a really, really big monster that you actually had to actually fight, and that
Mhm.
was crazy. And the good thing is you didn't have to fight the whole thing the whole time, but the bad thing is you didn't really have to fight it. You just did shot it best as you could, and then but you didn't really get to kill it. I think it ended up swimming off after a while or whatever. Because I don't
Yeah.
remember actually killing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we never killed it.
mhm,
We just lost it.
yeah, yeah. So after you go underneath there, you fight that monster. You end up on the island, and I don't remember the island name. I have to look at the island's name. Uh, you end up on the island, and when you get there, oh, before I get to that part though, those other those other armored things, I can't think of what the names of those armored ones are. You know what I'm talking
We talk
about?
about the,
I think
uh
Theon guards. I think that's what they are. The ones where when you shooting them, basically the ones that you have to blow up.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Those
you talk
things.
about the yeah, yeah, the ones
Yeah.
with the armor that you gotta, throw grenades
Mhm.
at and stuff like that, you know?
Right. Those things were crazy upgrade. I
Mhm.
mean, those things really like you said, you have to throw grenades, and like one of the times we were playing it and do it, I actually tried to stick the grenade on him. I did stick the grenade on him, but I didn't roll out of the way in time, so I ended up blowing up too. So that was wild. But those things was one of the best upgrades and one of the most frustrating because
Yep.
when you're shooting at them, straight up shooting at them, you just hear the bullets, ping, 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 just flanking off of them, and
Mhm.
it was so hard. I like one of the first times of me actually playing it. I remember just getting so frustrated before I could figure it out that okay, you gotta blow them up. That I was really really frustrated doing
Yeah,
it.
those particular locusts were annoying, you know?
hmm
If you didn't have grenades or, or a boom shot or something like that, they were just I mean, you would literally have to shoot the crap out of them and just
hmm
continue to try to shoot the crap out of them till you get a
Or
quote,
boom
"nice"
shot, because, yeah, the boom
yeah, yeah.
shot, they actually have in a lot of those fights, they actually have a boom shot somewhere nearby. So
Mhm.
that's actually really cool that they were able to do that. So, but, so the, you get to the island, like I was saying, getting back to it, you get to the
Mhm.
island and you have to fight your way up to his dad. And the siege beast, man. So I should have let you jump on one of those siege beasts, even though you was taking stuff out though. So that's why I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on the siege beast. Those parts was actually pretty cool. What do you think about those? Because it got to that point where you get to the siege beast, but you have to actually use them to take out those balloons and everything.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I didn't even know until you jumped on it, and I'm like, "Wait, you can use that?" And
Right? Yeah.
I said, "Wow, well, have fun." Yeah, I was having fun with it, especially when I got what's the Magnum? The Magnum gun, what's it called?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
The Boltok. The Boltok.
yeah, the Boltok. Once I got the
Mhm.
Boltok, I was just, I was just running up on them, just, enjoying myself. So when you jumped on that thing, I was like, "Okay, now we're really doing some damage."
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, yeah. Those things was dope, and then especially you gotta take out the balloons with them. Um, the island is called Azura, and
Mm,
and and so when you're actually in this, you end up finding out on that island, that it was actually part of the reason why the Maelstrom is on there is because it was an island that was hidden on purpose by Prescott, the Chancellor Prescott. I don't know if he was Chancellor or whatever, but
mm,
um, yeah, Prescott. He ended up he ended up creating this place to kind of hide away like dignitaries and higher ups and everything like that. When you
mm.
get into this place, you see this crazy like massive hotel, and it is
Yeah.
so wild that this is all done and Prescott knew where Adam Phoenix was as well too. That's because
Mhm,
Adam was there. They put him out there. Um, and the fight getting to Adam was really dope. Like you go through and you got Lamberts coming up out the ground at one
mhm.
point. You jump on elevators. You gotta shoot through elevators. One of the elevators fall off. That was, you know, when those elevators started going down, and I was on it one side and you were on the other. When they were going down, I was like, oh, crap. Like I had actually forgot. It had been so long that I forgot that happened. And I was just like, "Oh, man, what are they gonna do?" I was like, "Can't we just get up to the top?" And, of course, for a little bit of exposition, I mean, just so, to kinda make it a little bit more scarier, they actually made it to where you jump up on top of the other crew's elevator, and then you get off on basically 2 separate floors, but you end up
Mm.
meeting up in the middle. And when you meet up in that middle and you go upstairs, that part is wild because
Yeah.
Queen Mira breaks through the roof with her
Mhm.
giant flying creature. It looks like a giant, almost like a giant cicada.
Yeah.
But that thing, that thing right there. Tell me your thoughts about that fight because that fight it's a fight, but it's not even really a fight. It's
Yeah,
more like just a survival run.
yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that. You just avoid her in all reality. You just really just avoid her, because you really can't do any damage to her at that point.
Mhm.
It's later on in the game, in the ending, that you can do some damage to her. But at
Yeah.
that point, when she first, I'm, I'm like, what in the world is going on? We can't do nothing to her.
Yeah, yeah, and it cooks your screen, man. It
Yep.
the way your whole screen changes to like, an inferno and you're looking at the it was just like all the heat and everything like that. Because if your character is caught out not behind a post or something like that, your character starts getting cooked too.
Yep.
That thing just spits out like hot fire, like like it was Dylon or something. That's
Hmm.
a that's a little Chappelle Show joke, but no, it spits out fire like a dragon almost, but it's not even like real fire. It's just like a orange light that it sticks on that it spits out, and the orange light melts everything that it can actually see and touch, and that is crazy. So
Yeah. Well, I know what you just said was great. That was important. But let's go back to your Dave Chappelle reference. You talk about Dialine, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
been
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, yeah. He said that spit hot fire. Yeah, a little aside from that, so so recently I got on I think it was on TikTok or I might have been, seeing it, like, on YouTube or something like that. Do you know that dude he tried to blame Dave Chappelle for his lack of a career right now?
Oh my gosh.
He's
Come on,
saying that
man.
nobody in the music industry can take him seriously. I think it was on TikTok. He said nobody in the music industry can take him seriously because of Dave Chappelle's, like, Spit Hot Fire skit. He was like, "I never even said that." Like, are you serious? Come on, man. Everybody
You
remembers
said
him
it,
saying that.
man. You
Yeah,
said
everybody remembers him saying that. It's like, dude, come on. How are you gonna lie and say
it.
you don't say that? You can't blame Dave Chappelle. You have to blame your own your own ignorance, and you trying to thinking that you're a bigger celebrity than you are, you know?
Mhm.
Sure, you might have had some dope lyrics and all that, but you when you get and this, you
I
know
don't think he ever had dope lyrics.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, he had a little bit of skills, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
And this is Listen, here's my disclaimer. I in no way I in no way endorse, Puffy, but but
Well, yeah, that's true.
but in the way he actually was his point that he was making at the time, Puffy, was, you have to be hungry for it. So all
Mm,
those hoops he made those people jump through, other than being an a-hole, all of those hoops is because he was trying to make them hungry for it and try to make them want the life, want he wanted them to not just want to be famous.
mm,
And that was the major point about it. And Dylon, all he wanted to be was famous, you know?
right,
And
right.
it seemed like some of them, like a couple other ones just wanted to be famous, but there was a couple of them in there who really were about the love of hip hop, you know? So, anyway, that's just a little bit aside from that joke, that Dave
Yeah,
Chappelle joke I made, but yeah, that
yeah,
was
yeah.
that.
Sorry, we drifted away. I'm
No,
sorry,
it's
but I
all
had to
good.
ask him about that. I was like, I know he's talking about that
Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's all. But yeah. So going back, you end up going up the stairs, and you cut this wire that actually drops this sculpture down on Queen Mare and her beast that she's flying on. And when you do that, it almost makes it look like you're at the end of the game, but
one.
you haven't saved your father yet, so you know that something more is coming.
Yep.
And the fact that you don't actually see any blood from the beast or anything like that, that's when you know, okay, this thing is coming back in a fight. Yeah, right? You get upstairs and you save your father. That little hallway gauntlet too was actually really fun. I love that hallway gauntlet.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So they actually have one of those in almost every version, in every why am I saying episode? I want to say episode so badly, but anyway, in every sequel of Gears, there's almost always a hallway gauntlet that you have to go through, and those are so dope because you actually get to use all the little mechanics of Gears, and I love those little, the roadie run, the hide, the sometimes you do a blind throw or a blind shoot, depending on your tactics and how you do. At the end, those tactics all come into play at some scene at some point. Um, During that hallway fight, what was the part? What was the tactics that you were using?
I mean, I was just trying to because the way they did it. I mean, guys were just coming at you from all angles. So it's like,
Mhm.
you know, you just turn around 360 degrees, just looking for the next guy to shoot down. You know,
Right, yeah,
remember they
and then
had
you got that
wretches coming
troika.
at you. They
You
got
had the
they
troika.
Yeah, exactly. And they also had wretches, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep, correct.
yeah.
Mhm.
They had all types of stuff coming at you in that particular part of the game. So I was like, man, look out. I'm just gonna look out for my partners, and I'm just gonna shoot everything in sight that who ain't my partner. You know,
Right, yeah,
so
yeah,
it was
we
just
actually
crazy.
did
That
quick
that
work
part of
with
the game
that,
was
though.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. For your first time actually playing that, we actually did that quick work. Like it wasn't,
Mhm.
I mean, we don't have it on insane difficulty, but we also didn't have it on. We had it on normal. We didn't have it on the light difficulty either. I forgot what the light difficulty is called,
Mhm.
but we had it on normal. So it was like I said, for us just playing, that being his first time to play it, we made it through that hallway really quick. And
Yeah.
we actually put in some really good work to that, and then I was able to get the one shot, which was so dope. I love that one shot. 'Cause
Yeah, you
throughout
love
the
that sniper
game, I
rifle,
was
buddy.
doing all that sniper. Well, no, it's not even just the sniper rifle. The one shot is just that one thing that you don't even
Oh,
need
yeah,
to
yeah,
actually
you
get a
talk about
headshot.
that. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yep,
Yeah, that one
yep.
thing where all you gotta do is just zero in on them, and it kinda zooms in, and you find one spot on that thing, you shoot it one time, and the whole thing explodes.
I
So
I
that
think you did that right. I think you did that right in front of I was about to shoot that guy.
Mhm.
It was a locust. I was about to shoot him, and then all of a sudden, I just see his head implode, and I'm like, what was that?"
Yeah, yeah. I actually did that a couple times. That was the funniest part about when we were playing too. There was a couple times where we were about to shoot somebody, and then the other person got to him first. So that was
Yeah.
actually kind of funny because like there was a couple times where I zoomed in and I was about to snipe somebody, and next thing I know, I see the whole person explode. He was like, "I got him with the boom shot." I was like, "What?" That was
I
actually
think
really
the
dope.
one of the dopest ones was, you know, uh, I think we it was a pillar,
Mhm.
and you was trying to kill he was like the last guy we had to kill to move
Mhm.
on, and you was trying to kill him, and then I cornered him because I was right I came up right behind him. It's like,
Mhm.
"Damn," and you and he I shotgunned him,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you were like, "I thought I killed him," but I said, "No, I rolled up behind him. I got tired of him sticking around, trying to
Yeah,
be
that
the
was the
last
dude that was
survivor."
upstairs right behind that
Yep,
desk, something like
that was
that,
that
yeah.
guy. Yep,
Mhm.
that was that guy. Yep, and there was that one time you had the one shot,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Man, what
Yep.
the world just
Exactly.
happened to this dude?" He just imploded. I'm like,
I
"Man, good
remember
gracious."
that.
Just
And that was actually really hilarious. I really thought that was actually pretty funny. So that was one of the fun parts about the game too,
Yep,
is you come off with some really fun moments, just playing because I mean, you do have that little military aspect, and
yeah,
that's one thing that's actually pretty fun when I play with Chris, because we actually both have, like, military training, so
yep.
it's funny that our military training, like, snaps into place sometimes, and we're like, "Alright, moving, going back," taking a and, you heard me say that a couple of times too,
Yeah.
different things here and there, but, it's really funny when I play with him and we actually both snap right into it, but,
No, no, the craziest thing is, like, when we playing now, it's almost like you're the leader without being announced the leader, because
Uh-huh.
we're always following you, and that means the NPCs, the automatic,
Mhm.
the AI NPCs,
Yeah.
and me. So
Yeah.
I'm following your lead because it just seems like it's natural. It just goes in natural.
Yeah.
You just take that road natural, you know?
Yeah, 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 and it just falls in that happens to me with my life a lot, it's so crazy, but I'll have to tell you about that later. I literally recently just got offered something that's just really funny, I was really so anyway, um, so, um, we ended up taking out all those people down the hallway, that we get through the gauntlet, you finally find his father. And then you get the bad news. So, you get the
Mhm.
good news, but you get the bad news. The good
Yeah.
news is that his father has a way to actually take out all the looks. So, you get his father and you're like, "Alright, go ahead, you got the cure? Cool." You start going down the hallway, you fight back out to get back outside. And your dad, Anya, Beard, and Cole, all go outside, and your father, you go upstairs and you find what the whatever that is. I can't remember what it is, like distribution or whatever, the device. His dad had built a device,
Yep.
and it actually will eradicate all lambent and locusts from the planet. Well, that's the good news of it.
Mm.
The bad news of it is, unfortunately, in order to do the correct kind of testing, his dad had to actually kind of, because everyone on the planet who was exposed to the emulsion actually has a little bit of that lambent and that locust, whatever inside of them, so
Mhm.
they can actually turn into one. Well, unfortunately, his dad had to progress that, and his dad basically tells you that once I set this off, I'm done. He's he tells you that basically he was starting to turn into a locust himself, and it, unfortunately, you have to actually let him do it, and that is like, man, you know. So it's like, what did you think about that? Because that was a surprise I was waiting for you to get, and it sounded like when we were playing, like that took you by surprise for real.
Oh, it did. It did.
Yeah.
Because "Well, we came all the way over here to get him,
Mhm.
and you telling me that you can't go because you just injected yourself to test?" I understand the concept, but you're like, "Oh, man, that's a shocker," because not only and not just because it's a shocker because he injected himself, but it's a shocker because, I mean, Phoenix already lost. He's already lost Dom.
Yeah.
Now he's about to
Yeah.
lose his dad.
And that's the best part about it. So he just lost Dom, basically his other brother, and now and the whole time when he found out his dad is alive, it's like, "Oh, man, I got my dad back." He thought his dad was dead,
Mhm.
and he's like, "I got my dad back." And then all of a sudden, Of course, he finds out and Dom is alive when he finds out he got his dad back. Because Dom was right there when you hear the message from his dad and you hear his dad talking and everything. And later on, where he lost Dom, and now he found out he has to lose his dad, and you know you don't really have time to process it because
Mm,
basically once his dad tells him that and his dad goes in and starts readying the device, that's when Queen Mirror comes back and starts attacking.
right.
And you have to use a couple of different tactics here. You got to use the Hammer of Dawn. You have to just use your regular Lancer and everything like that. And you also have other like locusts and different things coming at you at different points too. So my very first couple times playing that, it took me a very long time to actually figure that out and how to actually play that, get through it, find the actual correct pattern to fighting against Queen Mirror and her beast, and then to get it right and finish it.
Mm,
So that fight with Queen Mirror, tell me your thoughts about that because that fight it was actually it was hard, but once you got the pattern down, it wasn't that hard.
right.
But I
Right.
can't believe it actually took me so long the very first time that I actually played it to figure out the pattern.
Well, one thing I love about the ending and the ending boss fight with Green Mirror is that if you think about Gears, one of the sickest weapons is the Hammer of Dawn, and you learn that on the first one.
Mhm.
Now, isn't it poetic justice that they use it on the third one to destroy her?
Yeah.
That very same weapon.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, that very same weapon, the Hammer of Dawn was sick. I was like, "What in the world? You mean to tell me you could lock in on somebody and beam something from a satellite? A beam from the satellite, just lock in on them, just to disintegrate whoever you fight, even those berserkers in the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
one." Yeah,
Uh, to your point though, you don't take out Queen Mary with the Hammer of Dawn. You take out
yeah,
her
yeah.
her
Well, the beast. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you take out her giant beast and
Well, I didn't wanna spoil it because we know what happens to Queen
oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Mary.
the spoiler's already out, but
Yeah.
basically get into that. You do take out her beast
Mm,
and once you do, that's when his dad actually sets off the locust fire thing,
mhm,
and it just takes out. And you see all over the planet Sarah, you see that the locusts just dying off. All the
mm,
landmarks are dying off. Things are exploding, and here, there, and everything's dying. Well, Queen Mira actually has a lot of human in her.
mm.
So she actually, a matter of fact, I think she was human the whole time. Can't
Yeah,
remember. I
she
gotta go
was.
back. Yeah, she was human the
She
whole
was.
time. So
Mhm,
I don't even think she has any locusts in her. But anyway, after the bomb goes off, the device is set off. Everybody thinks they're about to celebrate, but you see from underneath the beast, Queen Mary comes in, and she's actually talking junk.
mm,
She's basically like, "Oh, you think you won and this and that, and you lost
mhm.
your dad, whatever." And Marcus just had enough.
Yep,
He just walks up to her and knifes her,
yep.
and that is the end of Queen Mirror.
Mhm.
That is the end of Queen Mirror because really she shouldn't have talked junk. I mean, but she was gonna die anyway. But you know, she she really shouldn't have talked junk because once she did that, Marcus knew that he was getting in close quarters.
Mhm,
She could have had a really quick, and it would have been, quicker and faster, whatever. Somebody would have just pistoled her or something like that.
mhm.
But she was talking so much junk that Marcus just went in close, and he just let out basically by doing that. There's just all the anger and frustration that he had from Dom and his dad and everything, and just feeling like there was nothing left. He just let out on her, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
after that, everyone is rolling up and coming onto the beaches and everything like that, and um, the gears are already coming in anyway. Because once you shut down the maelstrom coming up, we did kind of skip over that part because we're gonna talk about one more thing before time runs out. But once you actually shut down the maelstrom, all this is where because when you first get onto the island, you have Jace and I think her name is Kate. Um, I gotta look again, but you have Jace with you, and that other girl. But after everyone lands on the beach, then he sends them off, and you get Beard and Coltrane back. Um, but like I said, after everyone dies, whatever, after you kill Queen Mira and Adam Phoenix dies, you go back down the tower, and you're talking to everyone, and you see Marcus just walk off to the beach, and he kind of walks up, and he takes his signature do rag off and everything,
Mhm.
and he's just defeated. He's so defeated, and he's like, "What's left? Nothing's left." What was all this for? And um, Anya finally comes up to him, and that's when I was talking about earlier. You see the beginning of you see the real beginning of a relationship. I mean, like
Mhm.
throughout the game, here or there, you see kind of flirting here or there, but not really real flirting. Okay, if you pick
Yep.
up on it, you will. But you see kind of like them interacting and everything, and that point, that's when she comes and comforts him, and she was just like, the sacrifices of everyone wasn't in vain. The planet is free, so now we move forward from here. And that was actually a really really good sentiment, and to end the game series there would have been perfect.
Yeah.
uh 4 and 5 was still really really good. It was
Yep.
really good, but if they had never created a 4 and 5, it would have been perfect right there.
Yeah. Yeah. It been and to be honest with you, 4, 4 was a great game. Was a great
Mhm.
game. But 5, oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
And
5
we'll
is
get to those later. Because me and
yeah, yeah,
Chris are planning on playing through 4, and then
mhm,
we're gonna go to 5.
yeah,
We're gonna really, we're gears heads to the very bone. So
yeah. So, and 5 was actually really dope, 'cause I think 5 is the one where you actually have that little ice skiff.
yeah,
That was
man.
dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, finishing up with Gears, again, it was like, the story of it is so good that I really, really, truly hope they do it justice with this live action and the animated version. I
Mhm.
really, truly hope they do with them justice.
Yeah.
I am not. I'm okay. So I do. I'm more than hopeful. I'm hopeful, but I'm also like, I'm weary, because that story itself is such a good story, and I really want to get to the books. Well, the audiobooks. I gotta find the audiobooks, but I really
Mm.
want to get to the audiobooks because, like I said, the overall story is so good, and it's a good war story, and I really want to hear some more into detail about it. But again, like, I'm so very weary about what they could do, and I really hope that the correct people are on the project to where they don't say, "Oh, this is a different timeline of Gears of War. This is an alternate universe of Gears of War." I hope they don't do that, because,
Mm.
like I said before, having an actor that cares about the project it just is something completely different than just having just a project. I would rather have I would even unknowns, unknown actors, whatever. I would rather have unknown actors who are in a story than the story is more true to form. It doesn't have to be exactly like the game or the books or whatever, but I want it close enough to where I can recognize more, and that people aren't just doing it just for fan service, but I want it more closer to the story than as possible, you know? And one of them, it's either the animated or the live action, is actually going to go into the Pendulum Wars. So I'm excited about that. But we got 4, 5, and then 6 will be coming out soon. But we got 4 and 5 to go on to. So you'll be hearing some more Gears talk from us. But overall thoughts on Gears 3? Your final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Hmm.
Uh, Gears started excellent. 3, they ended the trilogy. You know, uh, as far as the first 3 before 4, obviously, but they really ended it well. I was impressed. Uh, after starting off the game, kind of like ditching it,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then coming back later on, I was impressed. I
Yeah.
wish I would have kind of hung out, and hung with the first time I actually tried it out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you were able to get on it and end up finishing it. So now you can actually see what we were talking about this whole time and why we were telling you
Mhm.
because we know you love the first two. So once, like I said before, once you get past the whole Lambit aspect of it and you get through all the different things here or there, it is such a good story. This story was like so awesome, including that little run in the part after you first lose Dom and that little run where that dude makes you go get whatever it was. I forgot. I think it was like weapons or something like I don't know, but you had to do
Mhm.
that run in the two different vehicles. That was dope.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well,
But let me end that real quick, because I know we're running out of time. I still hate lamb sauce. Sorry, I just
yeah.
had to say that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm wondering if like how they're gonna do 6 and what big bads they're gonna do for 6. So, but anyway,
6 is gonna be
um,
awesome. I just know
yeah.
it.
So, yeah. So we had a couple more things to talk about, and before we end this episode, Black is gonna talk about Hellblade, but coming up, we actually have we're gonna talk a little bit about X-Men '97, and we're gonna talk about the X-Men games a little bit. Um, but we're also I wanted to bring up Comic Con. So before you get into Hellblade, I forgot to tell you. I actually I think it was this previous weekend. It was the weekend of the 18th. So
Mhm.
weekend of 18th because I think I went the date of the 18th. Yeah, Saturday the 18th. Um, I went to Tiwaka Comic Con again, and
Mhm.
I actually of course I did dress up like Show Enough. However, I found everything for my next costume. Now, you might have heard what I said I wanted to do for the next costume, but for those who haven't, either go back and listen or just wait to for a little bit to the next Comic Con that I announced I'm gonna go to because I kind of want to make this one a surprise. Um, I got my wig being made. I'm working on making my wig. I was gonna make a coat, but I actually found a coat that I could buy because at the last Comic Con I talked to this dude and I saw like he was the character I wanted, but he did a different version of the character. And I was like, that's dope. I gotta find out. He didn't remember where it was, but seeing the actual details of his coat, I was actually able to Google his coat. So now I can actually buy it. So and I gotta finish making up the whole bodysuit and everything. So I can't wait to do that. But for those who wanted to see on our Instagram at Told My Wife Podcast, I actually did post a little short clips of myself and a couple other pictures I took. One of the coolest pictures I took was actually a little kid playing Professor Chaos from South Park. He actually
Mhm.
played Butters' version of Professor Chaos, and that was actually really dope. So, I posted that on Instagram and TikTok. So anyone you can actually check it out. To find us on TikTok too, you can actually just find mine. I got to remember what my TikTok tag is. So I don't know. I'll put that up on either one of our socials or something like that. I can't remember what my tag is at the moment. But I just wanted to say that out, because like I said, I did go to Comic Con and it was dope once again. It was Tidewater Comic Con 2024. Um, there's gonna be a con that's kind of like Blurred Con, which is geared primarily to African American like nerds, so not say nerds, but geeks and everything, Um, there's actually one called Atlantic Con, and it's coming in August, and I hope to go to that one. Um, the comic book I was talking about, the Tuskegee Heirs.
Mhm.
One of their creators is actually involved with that, and I'm excited because I want to go and see what else they got and see just the whole con itself. So can't wait to check that out. I'm hoping to go into that one in August. I'm hoping I actually have the time and the money to go. So,
Yeah,
and
no
I'm
doubt.
actually hoping that my costume will be done by then. So we'll see. Yeah, but like I said, check out my socials for that. But I wanted to go ahead and Black has been playing a new game, Hellblade 2. Black, give us a little overview and let me know your thoughts on Hellblade 2. Talk about that for a little bit.
Well,
Well,
Hellblade,
Hellblade
originally came
originally
out
came
in
out
in
in
2017, and we're
2017,
talking
and
about
we're
the
talking
first
about
one.
the first.
And I kinda, like, changed up my strategy, towards Hellblade because being that 2 just came out,
Mhm.
I don't wanna talk about too many spoilers, but I'm just gonna talk about my passion for Hellblade in general. So, Hellblade originally came out for in 2017 for, PlayStation and Windows. So, I didn't actually get a chance to play it until, like, a year afterwards, when it came to the Xbox One. So, when I first played it, I was always told that I had researched it to play it with headphones because, it details psychosis. And Senua, the main protagonist, she, she suffers from psychosis.
Mhm.
And when you're playing the game with headphones, you can actually hear other voices, and they're either discouraging her or they're either encouraging her. You know,
Dude,
they're
that's
telling her she's
wild.
gonna die. She's yeah, it's absolute. It's like nothing I've ever played before, and her story is so powerful. Spoiler alert, in the first one, she's looking for her, you know, she's looking to redeem the soul of her lover, Dillian,
Mm.
you know? And I'm not gonna get in too far into it, but she's so she has to go to Helheim and find his soul to redeem his soul, because he was actually massacred, you know, uh, by the Norsemen, you know,
Okay.
and it's Norse mythology,
You're right, yeah, I was about to ask you that because you said Helheim, so, yeah, that's
mm,
dope.
so she has to go to actual she's going to Helheim to go redeem him. So she fights all types of bosses and stuff like that. The first one ends up fighting the fire god, and ends up fighting the god of illusion. And she 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 ends up actually going against Hela in the end and redeeming her. So it's just throughout the whole throughout the whole first game, it's just you see so much trauma and so much backstory as far as how she got the way she is. And
Mm.
turns out that her father was responsible for her mother's death and
What?
believed that her that Senna was cursed. When in all reality, she was just a clairvoyant. And back then anybody that was a little different, people were afraid of you being different. They couldn't understand it. So you're cursed. They're gonna burn you to the stake or whatever. That's what happened to her mother. So long story short, she goes to Helheim, ends up beating Hela and redeeming the soul of her lover, Dylan. And that's when she starts to understand who she is. And going into Hellblade 2, she actually, spoiler alert, is new. I'm not gonna go get too far into it, but she actually goes and it starts out with her on the boat. She's like a prisoner, but
Mhm.
she got on the boat to be a prisoner on purpose. And she's one, pardon my French, but she's one hell of a warrior. She
Yeah.
is a great warrior. She uses a short sword, you know, and
Mhm.
she's one hell of a warrior. And the first one, she go through so much. You know, there's so many. She's got this thing where it's called rot. So if she dies, if you die too many times, the rot, ends up taking over your whole body, and you're just dead for good, and you have to start the whole game all over again.
Wow.
You know, that's the first. She's actually cursed with rot when she first enters into Helheim. And if she dies, like I said, if she dies too many times, you can see the rot. It's on one arm, then it's on the next arm, then you see it going up her neck, over her face. If you die too
Mhm.
many times, so uh, but it's inspiring. The way world is now, we're looking for a lot of strong. How can I say? There's a little war against wokeism around here.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, Chris, but why should there be? Because there's strong female game characters all over the place. I mean, think about Lara Croft,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
so Senua to me is just she's just awesome. She's awe-inspiring. I love her character. And the
Mhm.
actual lady that plays as her, I forgot what her name is. I look it up later, but she just plays it to a T, you know?
Yeah.
So I it's just a game. The part 2 was mentioned in 2019. It was
Mhm.
actually, debuted in 2019, the trailer, and I had been waiting ever since then just to play Hellblade 2 because of Hellblade 1, the impact it had on me, and Psychosis, and, it was just awesome, I'll leave it at that, and, let our viewers, discover it on their own because it's a masterpiece to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That just sounds crazy. The whole psychological horror part of it with the
Mhm.
voices and everything. That is nuts, man. And then like you're playing and you can actually see it's almost like the life counter, but the rot is the life counter, and you
Yep.
actually see that's wild. That is so wild. You know? Yeah, definitely, man. So how far did you get in Hellblade 2? Or you just went back to 1 now?
I'm actually I just wanted to touch base on 1 because I didn't wanna reveal too much on 2 being that it's a
Mhm.
new game,
You're right, yeah.
um, but
Yeah, yeah.
but, I'm actually close to because if you play Hellblade 1, it was pretty it was short, but it was short, but it was sweet, and even Hellblade 2, it debuts at, like, 49.99. It's a
Mhm,
short game, and I'm kinda close to the end, but, Hellblade 2 is graphically it's a marvel. They use the Unreal Engine 5
mhm,
for Hellblade 2, so, I mean, graphically, it's just stunning. The combat is awesome. Uh, some reviews will call it a little repetitive. I'm sorry, I just don't see any of that. I just feel like, it's just an awesome game. They they
yeah,
they just build on more from the first one,
mhm. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, that actually sounds dope, I really wanna check it out, but I ended up, getting for my birthday, I ended up getting from Chris, Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront.
Yep.
And I think I talked about it last podcast, but I ended up getting Battlefront, and I've been playing that. That one, you talk about strong female characters too. That character is a strong female character in there too. But I
Mm.
want to play a little bit more before I start talking about that. Either way, so that's dope, and I can't wait to hear more about Hellblade 2. So that's gonna be definitely a revisit.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so what I'm gonna do right now, right now is since we're actually at time, we're coming up on time here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this podcast, and we can actually talk about X-Men on the next one. So we really would love for y'all to come back and listen to our X-Men podcast. Um, like I said, we're gonna revisit a lot of things that was in this podcast. Of course, Gears of War, and then everything in comics, and then to me Comic Con, and we're also definitely gonna go into Hellblade 2 once he plays a little bit more. So. Um, but until then, you can actually reach out to us on our socials. You can find us at Told My Wife Podcast on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. You can also find us, you can email us, uh, Told My Wife Podcast at gmail.com. Reach out, let us know what you think, give us some suggestions. Feel free to interact with us. You can actually comment on any of our posts that we have. I interact with the people on social media whenever I can. So sometimes it'll take me a minute, but I mean sometimes I'm right on it, right on top of it. So just hit us up, let us know what you think. Especially if there's any kind of games you want us to try out, we'd be happy to. Um, you can also find us on pretty much most podcast platforms. So if you go to our Instagram, you'll find a link tree that actually has a list of all the platforms you can find us on. So if you end up losing us on one, because there are a couple of platforms that were shut down recently, you can actually find us on a different one. We're actually on iHeartRadio, dude. If you go to iHeartRadio on your smart TV, our podcast will come up on the smart TV. I checked that out myself. That was actually really dope. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. So, um, but until then, please check us out. Come back and listen to the X-Men podcast we're about to do right after this one. So, Black, you got anything you want to say?
Just piggybacking on what Slim just said, hey, man, we'll appreciate your feedback. Uh, please, anything you want us to cover, or if you wanna mention a game yourself or you wanna reach out, and say, "Hey, I like to talk about this game, man. We'll hey, look, man, we're gamers. We love entertainment. Uh, so just please just reach out. You know, we'll greatly appreciate it."
Yep, yep. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and reach out like you said, and it's we're definitely looking forward to it. I'm gonna also be trying to figure out the best way to do the TikTok. I was talking about that earlier. Right now, it's kind of connected to my personal TikTok, so I don't know. I need to maybe get one for the actual podcast. I don't know yet. But right now, all of my personal one is all of the podcast stuff. So anyway, um, yeah. Again, like I said, reach out to us on socials. But until our next podcast, I'm Slim,
And I'm Black.
and we wanted to say thanks for listening.